with 19 plus years of experience in the world of analytics, AI, and machine learning, especially in retail and FMCG. Ms. Urvashi Basera.
I think all the organizations who are truly embracing AI not just as an experimental pod, but as something which is a value driving engine, have either an internal or like a third party which is governing all the models, right?
When you step into a new project, what's the first thing you look for to assess whether the business is truly ready for AI transformation or if they are just exploring the waters?
I've always been a believer of nothing ventured is nothing gained.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, and today we have an episode that's going to get you thinking about the future of AI, analytics, and how leadership can drive real, measurable change in business. On FaceTime with Leaders, we bring you voices that are shaping the future, and today we are talking to someone who has redefined the role of data and AI in driving business transformation. I'm thrilled to introduce you all to Ms. Urvashi Basera, Head of Global Enterprise Analytics at Tesco. With 19 plus years of experience in the world of analytics, AI, and machine learning, especially in retail and FMCG, Ms. Urvashi is at the forefront of using AI to not just drive efficiency, but to create meaningful impact. And if that wasn't impressive enough, she is also shaping the future of governance in AI with a keen focus on ethics and risk management. Ms. Urvashi, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, and it's so exciting to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunny. And that was such a warm welcome. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
So, Ms. Urvashi, you have had such an impressive journey, leading global teams, driving AI initiatives at giants like PepsiCo and Tesco, and making a real impact in the business world. But before we dive into the technical side, I would love to know, looking back on your career, what's one unexpected moment or challenge that really shaped how you approach your work today?
Absolutely, Sunny. So again, I've always been a believer of nothing ventured is nothing gained, right? So again, I think looking back, what I always believed in is leadership is when you really roll your shirt as well as go into uncharted waters, right? Thinking back, this was my time at PepsiCo, wherein we were starting a global commercial analytics engine, right, for around 80 markets. Now, again, pragmatism has to be really balanced with optimism. I had done similar work, similar transformation work in my past experiences, but probably not at the scale as well as the domain that I was working with. However, right, I think as leaders, sometimes we just have to believe in oneself, and that's what I did in hindsight. And looking back, I think that gave me an exposure to work on truly global projects and scale right from ground up, right? I think that was very exciting, and I do carry that experience. I do in the artifacts of things that I have done successfully. I look back, and while there were lessons that were that could have been better, I feel that that was a very important life-changing experience.
Great, what a great start to this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as the head of global enterprise analytics at Tesco, you are steering some of the most cutting edge initiatives in AI and data analytics. Everything from finance and customer insights to operational efficiency and fraud intelligence. So, given your expertise in digital transformation, I'm really curious to know, when you step into a new project, what's the first thing you look for to assess whether the business is truly ready for AI transformation or if they are just exploring the waters?
Mm-hmm. Right, right. So, Sunny, this is what my stint in Tesco taught me, right? We literally had to unlearn everything that we have done as part of an innovation pod, right? It the business problem or the project readiness has to start with a guiding insight, right? You talk about proof of concept. I think here what we were basically looking for and what we do obsessively is look at proof of value, right? A guiding insight could be something as simple as, right, like you have under trading households when it comes to grocery spend in, say, for example, UK markets. It's an insight. But then what that insight can transform into is an AI ML model, which basically looks for customer personalization as well as stretch and spend programs, right? So again, I think the unlearning that I talked about, Sunny, is related to the fact that we have to really look at AI differently. It has to be an AI plus strategy wherein you almost restructure and redefine and rather reimagine processes on what AI can do rather than a piecemeal approach, right? I think gone are the times where you have an interesting, cool project, right? That could be probably that's for optics. However, right now I think all the businesses are asking one question, which is show me the money, right? I think while AI is creating more productivity frontiers, the real question, the real shift, at least in the domain where I am in retail and FMCG, is what are the incremental sales, right? Speed to intelligence is fine, efficiency markers are fine, but now I think AI is being imagined as reimagined as an important lever to drive, right, like real commercial growth, right? So I think that's what I had learned and rather unlearned.
Absolutely. And you have really emphasized how vital it is for AI projects to be aligned with clear business objectives, strong leadership, and robust data infrastructures. And I really love how you bring governance into the picture early on, ensuring AI transformations are both sustainable and impactful for the long term.
Right.
All right. So you have successfully navigated leadership roles in both FMCG, that is
Mhm.
PepsiCo, and now in retail, Tesco. While both sectors are big, fast paced, and data driven, there are unique challenges and opportunities in each.
Right.
So, what's
Right.
one key leadership lesson you learned from transitions between industries, and how has it shaped the way you approach transformation today?
Right, right, right. I think I love that question. Firstly, because I think both FMCG as well as a retail company have this, almost dramatic obsession with customer delight, right? Whether it is your retail customers or consumers who are eating a snacks and beverages. I think this was one of the commons that I drew from both the industry, right? Secondly, what I understand working with Tesco is that it's a retail, it's a wafer, we work on wafer thin margins, right? So everything that we do in terms of an investment, it is mapped with almost a 3 year or a 4 year ROI journey, right? Return on investment journey. So again, I feel the indoctrination that I am currently going through, right? The discipline in terms of like ensuring every pound matches the value. I think that has come with my recent stint in Tesco. However, what additionally I would want to highlight is, again, both these companies are they work on a GBS setup, right? So what was exciting when I joined PepsiCo was it was just setting up. I was in fact employee number 300 or something, right? It was just setting the grounds on in Hyderabad as the first GBS in India, right, for PepsiCo. It was really exciting for me because I got an opportunity to create and work on greenfield projects, right? You had the branding of a multinational global company, but at the same time you had a startup culture, right? So I think both these experiences, what it taught me, while PepsiCo taught me agility, PepsiCo taught me depth, Tesco taught me the commercial value that we have to drive with every initiative, right? So again, I think the common threads, of course, being the commercial as well as customer obsession in both these markets.
That's such a powerful way to look at cross industry leadership, Ms. Urvashi. And the way you connected the rhythm of FMCG with the real time unpredictability of retail really shows how transformation leaders evolve by absorbing very different operating realities. Great.
Right.
Uh, all right. So moving ahead, in your role, you have driven massive AI and digital transformation initiatives. But we also know that not every shiny new technology is a fit for every business problem. So,
Right.
how do you approach the balance between pushing for innovation and ensuring operational stability? And part B of my question is, what metrics or signs do you really rely on to decide whether a new idea or technology is worth the risk?
Mm-hmm. Right. Very interesting, Sunny, right? Like, in fact, this is something that we are currently very clinically looking at right now, right? See, when we talk about AI, especially, right, if it is not from market lens, if I only look at GBS or GCC setup, right? I think there's so many co-located opportunities. We will miss out on innovation if we just work with blinkers on, right? So, having said that, right, like again, one of the parameters that I really look for when we talk about any new project, and I'm strictly talking about within GBS setup, is is AI going to be an augmentation method? Is AI going to automate, or AI going to have an agency, right? Which is pretty much without a human in loop taking autonomous decision, right? Most of the use cases right now are in the first and the second half, which is AI as an augmentation, almost like a digital twin, right? So again, when we work on the use cases like this, I'm going back to my prior question, right? Like, what is the guiding insight? Like, what is the problem statement? I think it's very, very important to understand, right? Before business objective, what is a problem that you're trying to solve, right? It could be related to a reduction in errors, right? Like, again, your levers can either be reduction of cost, reduction, increase in sales, in speed to intelligence, or even improving efficiency, right? You cannot go beyond these levers unless you have like an innovation skunk pod where you're trying and experimenting new things, right? However, just back to my caveat earlier, right? The days of experimentations are gone, right? Like, people are really asking about money. So again, going back to your question, the most important metric that we look for is, where does the AI plug in? What is the business problem that you're looking for? And again, do the trade off in terms of like the complexity. Is AI going to really reduce the hours, or is it going to be, I mean, the time it is needed for sustenance, learning, is it's not going to, the trade off is not going to be very balanced, right? So again, speed to complexity, speed to market, complexity, readiness now versus later, business objective, the problem statement that you're solving, right? I think these are all the parameters that we look for in terms of a use case. But at the end of the day, it has to be solving a business problem, right? With a very meaty commercial value.
Absolutely. And that was incredibly insightful, Ms. Urvashi. The way you broke down the difference between excitement and actual readiness is
Right.
something most leaders struggle to articulate. Great.
Right.
That's honest. All right. So moving forward, it's time for our next segment, which is called Rapid Fire Round. We are going to be very quick, fun, and light. So are you ready for it?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So here I should be with the first question. What's the first thing you do when you start your workday?
Hmm. I think I set the intention for the day, rather for the week, right? And this is a habit that I started doing, like, reserving 10 minutes every Sunday to set the intention of the week. And it's been very helpful.
All right, great. A book that genuinely changed how you think about leadership.
Not necessarily leadership, but again, I think there's a very interesting book by Chanel Pratt, right? It's called Neuroscience of You. It just explains in a very quirky as well as scientific manner what makes you you, right? The decisions that you take, the leadership style you would have, and the certain peccadillos, the quirks that makes your personality you. I thought that was a very interesting read.
Absolutely. That's a must read, actually. Okay, next question. What's one habit you have built that has quietly improved your life?
Hmm. I have started running, and I was a track athlete during my school days. But in the last 5 months, I've revived this habit, and frankly, it's very therapeutic. It helps me catch up on a lot of audiobooks as well as news while I'm running, and again gives you sort of a clarity that you need, right, uh, to get on with your day.
Absolutely. Healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy business. Great. So, next question. If you had to completely disconnect for a week, where would you go?
Mhm. Hmm. So, Sunny, I'm from the hills, right? And I think there's something magnetic about the hills. So, probably I will go on an absolutely digital detox somewhere in the Himalayas, either Himachal or Uttarakhand now.
Great. One food you can never say no to.
I love spaghetti. I love spaghetti aglio olio, as well as my comfort food is Maggie any day.
All right. Nice. Small daily ritual or practice that keeps you grounded.
Okay, so I've started digitally journaling, right? And again, it could be some voice notes. I feel that, you might read or you might see a quote or an interesting information that you would want to probably dig further, right? I use right now. I'm using Google Keep Notes, but again, it's a myriad of different thoughts that I collect during the day, right? It could be something which is academic, it could be related to dogs, it could be related to a kitchen recipe. So it's all there. But again, I think I feel great comfort in terms of like going back and then like rereading some of the quotes which I liked, or just picking up a recipe on a slow Sunday. So yeah, I think that gives me a little bit of calmness as well. And yeah, I think with so much that is happening around the world, um, I feel like that's my little corner of joy.
Absolutely. So that was fun. That was rapid, and that was it's always good to know the person behind the professional. Great. Thank you so much. So, Ms. Urvashi, we have covered so much ground today, from leading large teams to transforming businesses through data. Now, as we look ahead, I want to dive into a specific issue that's becoming more critical with the rise of AI and digital transformation, that is AI ethics and governance.
Hmm.
With AI increasingly integrated into decision making processes, from customer insights to financial forecasting, there's a growing concern about the ethical implications of its use, whether it's ensuring fairness in algorithms or managing data privacy. The stakes are really, really high. So, my
Mhm.
question to you is, how do you see businesses effectively balancing need
Mhm.
for innovation and the pressure to adopt AI with the
Mhm.
responsibility to govern it ethically? And what should leaders do to ensure that AI and data driven transformations are done in a responsible and transparent way?
All right. Sure. So I think, if at all, as end users or somebody who is watching the industry afar, you are feeling paranoia, and if I'm feeling paranoia regarding how at an amazing speed all of this is transforming, I feel like, I give into that paranoia. It is all right to be paranoid, right? However, the future is more exciting, right? It's almost like, somewhere I had read that AI is helping you with additional IQ quotient, right, to what you can do, whether it is your productivity or we're talking about B2B. Now, again, what has increasingly become more relevant and important, that things like fairness, explainability, trust, then we talk about security of these models, bias, how we're dealing with bias of these models. This has become more than just vogue words, right? I think all the organizations who are truly embracing AI, not just as an experimental pod, but as something which is a value driving engine, have either an internal or like a third party which is governing all the models, right? Again, the governance happens at multiple ends, right? It can happen at a project level, or it can happen at an org level, or you can have a third party which is really auditing, right, like the fairness of the model, the explainability of the model, right? So again, I think the use case may vary, but I think the screens that we need to ensure, as well as the structures that we need to ensure, they are more than relevant, and not even relevant, I think they've become mandatory, right? I feel that what is needed is you make it a part of your culture, right? Like when you're creating a business problem statement, right? Like again, going back, I said always start with a guiding insight or a problem that you're going to solve, right? Again, when we are thinking about what will be the output, what will be the features that we are considering as part of solving a problem, the governance lens has to be a mandatory clause, right? And this includes things of the movement, portability of data. How are you handling privacy indicators, right? PII data, right? I think the more it is a white box, the more comfort it will give to end users who right now, right, are on the fence about AI, right? It will help people be less paranoid and more excited about what is going to come.
Absolutely, absolutely, Ms. Urvashi. And the way you tie innovation back to governance, risk, and real-world stability, it's a perspective most leaders miss, and it's exactly what makes your decision so incredible.
Thank you.
So now, as we talk about leadership and governance, I understand that you are also closely involved with Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. So I'd love to hear more about your experience joining Directors Institute and how has being part of this community shaped your approach to leadership and governance.
Right, right. So, Sunny, again, as somebody who's answered to the board, right? Like, again, the questions could vary from, right, what is happening in around Ozempic, right? Like, are we adequately, fortified when it comes to cyber frauds as well, right? Again, I always had this curiosity wherein, the board questions are almost very very what's the word, right? Like very futuristic, right? Like, it's almost like the board has a sort of a foresight in terms of what where the company is heading. So again, there was always a bit of that curiosity. Secondly, at the same time, I felt that I had that competitive moat working in AI as well as data analytics all my life, wherein we needed more representation, not just digital risk, but increasingly AI governance, right? So again, I think it made more sense for me to delve into that direction, a from curiosity, and second is with the skill set that I had acquired, and then the field was pretty interesting as well. So again, my experience with Directors Institute has been very very promising. It's giving me a fiduciary insight, which again from the from our regular day of work we would not necessarily think about it very very cognizantly, right? So again, I think the lessons and the structures is very well planned, and again, what I feel is this year I was very deliberate in terms of like adding additional capabilities to my portfolio. And again, as trivial or banal it may sound, I asked ChatGPT, right? These are my skill set. What additionally I can complement my skills with. And again, I'm not that I'm be facing all my career decisions to Chat GPT, but again, you'll be surprised to know that Chat GPT as well as OpenAI, I mean, most of the LLM models are increasingly good in counseling, career counseling or generic, right? So again, yeah, so that's where I am, and I'm excited to complete the course and get the certification, and hopefully represent in one of the boards with my with the experience that I have amassed.
Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Urvashi. And the sincerity in the way you spoke about your journey with Directors Institute really stands out. It's clear that the experience hasn't just added knowledge, it has genuinely shaped the way you lead.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So, Ms. Urvashi, let me tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on FaceTime with Leaders today. Your insights into AI transformation, ethical governance, and purpose driven leadership have been nothing short of inspiring. And we have covered a lot from scaling teams and driving innovation to leading with responsibility in today's fast changing tech landscape. So, on behalf of Directors Institute, World Council of Directors, I want to thank you for sharing your journey, your invaluable expertise, and the leadership principles that guide. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sunny. It was an absolute joy talking to you and really happy for this opportunity.
Ms. Urvashi Basera, thank you once again for being here. It's been an honor. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning into another episode of FaceTime with Leaders. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation with a leader who is shaping the future of business. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, signing off for now. Until next time, stay curious, stay innovative, and keep leading with purpose. Thank you so much.